Hello friends, welcome to PK Guayan Power, where we bring you a new and inspiring audiobook every day. So subscribe and listen to today's special audiobook. Have you ever wondered what the true meaning of liberation or moksha is? Is it achieved simply through prayers and rituals? Or is there a deeper, more logical and humane path to it? A path that teaches us to live with dignity and happiness, not in another world, but in this very world. Today we bring you an audiobook titled The Path to Liberation, based on the thoughts of one such revolutionary thinker, Dr. Bhimrao Ramji Ambedkar. This audiobook will show us how, through one's thinking, courage, and sound principles, one can pave the way to liberation for oneself and society as a whole. It is not just a story, but a torch that will lead us from darkness to light. So let's begin this enlightening journey. Chapter 1. The Search for Liberation. Why do we need a new path? Every human being in this world desires happiness, peace, and freedom from suffering. We know this liberation by different names. Some call it moksha, some nirvana, and some mukti. But have you ever thought deeply about what we seek liberation from? Is it just the cycle of birth and death? Or is it the suffering we experience every day in this life? The suffering of humiliation, the suffering of not being equal, the suffering of not being able to live up to our full potential. Dr. Ambedkar recognized this suffering. He saw that millions of people in society were suffering simply because they were born into a particular caste. They were denied the respect, the opportunities, the rights they deserved as human beings. It was a slavery whose chains were invisible, yet they were stronger than iron chains. It was a mental slavery that convinced people that this was their fate, that they deserved this humiliation. Just imagine, what could be more painful than a person not considering themselves human? They feel they have no value. This was the most important problem from which Dr. Ambedkar was seeking liberation. He knew that the real fight was not against any external enemy, but against this deeply ingrained mindset. This mindset had been flowing like poison in the veins of our society for thousands of years. It was this mindset that divided human beings, making one superior and the other inferior. Dr. Ambedkar believed that as long as this mindset persists, no one, regardless of caste or religion, can truly be free, because a divided society can never be strong and prosperous. He questioned whether the paths we are shown, taught in the name of tradition, can truly liberate us from social suffering. If a path does not teach us equality and brotherhood, how can it be a path to liberation? It is simply a kind of cage that imprisons us. Tell me, even if you were kept in a golden cage, would you feel free? No, because freedom means the freedom to fly in the sky, the freedom to live as you wish. So the first step he took was to acknowledge this suffering, to admit that yes, there is a serious problem in our society. Many people turn away from this truth because it is painful. But Dr. Ambedkar was like a physician who correctly diagnoses the disease before curing it. He decided to get to the root of this social illness. He understood that it is not just caused by a few bad people, but by the system that has been justified in the name of religion and tradition. He taught us that salvation must be sought not outside in a temple or mosque, but within ourselves and in the very fabric of our society. We must free ourselves from the ideas that diminish us, divide us, and teach us to hate one another. This was a monumental challenge because it was like demolishing walls that were thousands of years old. This wasn't just about political or economic freedom. It was a search for a much deeper social and spiritual liberation. A liberation that would restore every person's self-respect. It would make them realize that they are no less than anyone else and have the full right to live with their heads held high. He taught us that until we understand our own worth, the world will not recognize us. The price will not be understood. Therefore, the first step on the path to liberation is to recognize oneself, understand the true cause of one's suffering, and resolve to no longer tolerate this injustice. This was not easy, and it is not easy today. But it is the first and most essential step toward a better future, toward a just society. So the question arises, when he realized that the existing paths were dead ends, in which direction did he begin to look? What was that first ray of hope that gave him hope? We will find the answer to this question in the next chapter, where we will see how, by raising new and bold questions on old paths, he initiated a revolution. Chapter 2. Old Paths, New Questions. A bold attack on traditions. When a person understands the foundation of a problem, the next step is to find a solution. Dr. Ambedkar did the same. He deeply studied all the religious and social systems that prevailed in India. He never accepted anything simply because it had been practiced for thousands of years or was written in a holy book. His only criteria were logic and justice. He subjected every tradition and principle to the test of reason. He asked, is this acceptable to reason? Does it promote equality and brotherhood among human beings? Does it benefit society? If any question remained unanswered, he rejected it without fear, no matter how old or revered it was. This was a courageous act. Imagine, at a time when people were afraid to even question tradition, one person was challenging the entire system. He was saying that if a religion or tradition did not recognize a human being as a human being, then it was not religion, but irreligion. He saw that most religious paths talked about renouncing the world and going to the forest or attaining salvation after death. But Dr. Ambedkar's question was, what is the point of this life? A person who suffers daily humiliation and injustice cannot be silenced by the lure of a heaven after death. He needs respect and justice in this very life. He said that any religion that forces us to live a hellish life in this world in dreams of heaven is a deception. The true religion is one that shows us the path to making this world a heaven, one that teaches us how to live with love, respect, and equality. He emphasized that we don't need a God who remains silent in the face of our suffering, but rather, we need principles that give us the strength to face our suffering. This idea was a revolution in itself. It changed the very definition of religion and spirituality. Dr. Ambedkar's attack was not only on hollow traditions, but also on the mentality that prevents us from asking questions. He wanted people to use their intellect. They should not follow others like sheep, but should examine and test everything themselves and then accept it. He said, don't believe anything just because it was said by a great man or written in an old book. Test it with your own logic. Look at it from your own experience and believe it only if it is for your own good and society's good. This was the essence of the principle of Abdipabhava, be your own light. He wanted to make us mentally independent. He knew that as long as a person is mentally enslaved, no political freedom can truly liberate them. Only through their own thinking can they decide what is good or bad for themselves. Tell us in the comments, do you also believe that using one's intellect is the first step towards true freedom? In this courageous quest, he examined every path that claimed to offer liberation. But he found something lacking everywhere. He saw that most systems granted special privileges to a few while denying those rights to the vast majority. He was looking for a path that was open to everyone, one that did not discriminate on the basis of birth, caste, or gender. A path whose doors are open to anyone who wishes to walk the path of knowledge and compassion. This search led him to a great man whose thoughts remain as relevant and scientific even thousands of years later. A path based not on any god or supernatural power, but on the individual's own actions, wisdom, and compassion. It was a philosophy that asserted that you are the creator of your own destiny. You are not subject to any obligations. You don't need external support. Your salvation lies within you. This discovery wasn't easy. It took years of study, contemplation, and contemplation. But what was that path? What was that philosophy that so influenced a great intellectual like Dr. Ambedkar? This secret will be revealed in our next chapter, which will take you to a new world. If you enjoy our efforts and want to continue with us on this journey of knowledge, please subscribe to our channel, PK Gyan Power, if you haven't already. Your subscription empowers us to bring you more such inspiring audiobooks. Chapter 3. The Buddha's Path, a confluence of science and compassion. After exposing the flaws of the old path, Dr. Ambedkar's search led him to the philosophy of Lord Buddha. But he didn't see Buddha the way most people do, that is, as an incarnation of God. He saw Buddha as a great man, a great thinker, and a social reformer. He discovered that the Buddha's Dhamma was not a religion of rituals, but a scientific and logical way of life. It was a path based not on superstition, but on wisdom, Prajna, and love, Karuna. This was a significant discovery for Dr. Ambedkar. He had found what he was looking for, a path that was completely focused on humanity, logic, and morality. He saw in Buddha's path a wonderful confluence of science and compassion. Buddha's path was scientific because it did not call for blind acceptance of anything. Buddha himself had said, "Don't accept what I say just because I say it. Try it out in your own life. Accept it only when you feel it is good for you and others." This completely resonated with Dr. Ambedkar's views. Buddha's Dhamma does not speak of any imaginary God or soul. It speaks of suffering, the cause of suffering, the solution to suffering, and the path to that solution. This is a purely psychological and practical approach. Just as a doctor first diagnoses an illness, then finds the cause, and then prescribes medicine to eliminate that cause. Similarly, the Buddha analyzed human suffering and offered a practical path to overcome it. There was nothing supernatural or mystical about it. Everything was based on logic and experience. The second pillar of this path was compassion. Wisdom or understanding alone can make a person harsh and arrogant, but when wisdom is combined with compassion, a person becomes truly human. Compassion does not simply mean showing pity, it deeply means feeling the suffering of others and taking action to alleviate it. Buddha's Dhamma teaches that all beings in the world are related to each other. The suffering of one is actually the suffering of all, and the happiness of one is the happiness of all. Therefore, thinking only about one's own liberation or happiness is incomplete. True liberation is achieved when we strive to alleviate the suffering of all. This idea touched Dr. Ambedkar's heart, as he himself was struggling to alleviate the suffering of millions. He saw in Buddha's Dhamma a blueprint for a society where there is no discrimination, and everyone has love and friendship for one another. Dr. Ambedkar made Buddha's three fundamental principles the foundation of his life and his movement: wisdom, compassion, and equality. Wisdom means the ability to use one's own intellect to discern right and wrong. Compassion means love and compassion for all beings, and equality means treating all humans as equals. He felt that these were the three pillars on which an ideal and just society could be built. He found it fascinating that Buddha's path did not teach hatred. He advocated conquering evil thoughts with good thoughts, not through meditation. He said that hatred never pacifies evil. Enmity is pacified only through non-enmity, that is, love. It was not just a moral sermon, but a very powerful weapon to change society. Ambedkar understood that responding to hatred with hatred would only lead to destruction. If society is to be united, the path of love, compassion, and brotherhood must be adopted. But merely knowing the path is not enough. One must also walk it. So the question is, what is the first step on this great path? Which of wisdom, compassion, and equality must be cultivated first? What is the first key that unlocks the remaining doors to liberation? We will find the answer to this in the next chapter, where we will discuss the lamp that dispels the darkness of the mind. Chapter 4. The Lamp of Wisdom. How to dispel the darkness of our mind. Of the three pillars of Buddha's path, wisdom, compassion, and equality, Dr. Ambedkar gave wisdom the first and most important place. Wisdom, in simple terms, means correct understanding, discretion, or knowledge. But it is not just bookish knowledge. It is the ability to see life, the world, and ourselves as they are, without any adulteration, without any superstition. Dr. Ambedkar believed that the root of all human suffering and slavery is ignorance. When our minds are in darkness, when we cannot distinguish between right and wrong, that is when we tread the wrong path. We exploit others or are exploited ourselves. Therefore, the first step on the path to liberation is to light the lamp of wisdom within our minds. When this lamp is lit, all superstitions, all fears, all misconceptions automatically vanish. Think about what foundation the system of hierarchy and discrimination that has existed in society for thousands of years rested on. It rested on ignorance. The idea that some people are born superior and others inferior was instilled in people's minds. People accepted this false notion as truth and continued to carry it down through their descendants. The lamp of wisdom strikes at this darkness. It teaches us to question. It gives us the courage to ask, how can a person be superior or inferior by birth? All humans are born equal. So why this discrimination? When a person begins to think this way, they break the first chain of mental slavery. They no longer believe what they hear, but instead seek the truth through their own intellect. Dr. Ambedkar wanted everyone to sharpen their intellect, acquire knowledge, and see the world with open eyes, not through someone else's lens. Lighting the lamp of wisdom means purifying our minds. We are filled with many wrong things and prejudices from childhood. We form opinions about others based on their caste, religion, or color. Wisdom teaches us to see every person as just another human being. It inspires us to look inside our own minds and remove all the garbage that society has filled us with. This is a continuous process. It doesn't happen overnight. We need to be constantly aware of it. We must pay attention to our thoughts. Whenever a negative thought about someone comes to mind, we must ask ourselves why it arose. Is there any logical basis for it, or is it just based on hearsay? This kind of introspection cultivates wisdom. It is even more necessary in today's times, where social media and fake news are filling our minds with misinformation every day. Only the lamp of wisdom can help us find the pearl of truth in this ocean of information. Dr. Ambedkar considered education the most powerful tool to kindle the lamp of wisdom. His famous slogan was, "Be educated, be organized, and struggle." The first step in this was to become educated, because education opens our eyes. It tells us the history of the world, explains the laws of science, and teaches us to reason. An educated person cannot be easily fooled. They know their rights and know how to fight for them. We need education not just to get a job, but to become better human beings, a person who knows how to use their intelligence properly. But is mere intelligence enough? Can a highly knowledgeable person, lacking a heart and unable to understand the suffering of others, be good for society? No. If the power of knowledge is not channeled properly, it can be destructive. So who guides the light of wisdom? What other power prevents knowledge from being destructive and makes it beneficial? The mystery will be revealed in the next chapter, where we will discuss the most important power of the heart. Chapter 5. The Power of Compassion, to embrace the pain of others as one's own. If wisdom is a sharp sword, then compassion is the hand that wields it, ensuring that it is raised only for justice, not to attack the innocent. Dr. Ambedkar considered this second pillar of Buddha's path, compassion, to be the foundation of humanity. Compassion doesn't just mean feeling sad or pitying the poor. Its meaning is much deeper. The true meaning of compassion is to feel the pain of others as if it were your own. When you see someone else in pain, you feel the same pain in your heart and become desperate to alleviate that suffering. This is true compassion. It is the glue that binds people together, forming a society. Without compassion, we are all just individuals living for self-interest. Dr. Ambedkar saw that the main lack in Indian society was this compassion. The caste system had built such walls in people's hearts that a person from one caste could not relate to the pain of another. Instead of seeing each other as human beings, people identified themselves solely by their caste. This feeling had hollowed out society from within. Dr. Ambedkar believed that no society can progress unless its members have compassion and friendship for one another. Think about why a family is strong. Because its members have love and compassion for one another. They share each other's joys and sorrows. Similarly, if we began to view the entire country, all humanity, as one family, more than half of the world's problems would automatically disappear. Buddha's Dhamma teaches that compassion should not be limited to humans but should extend to all living beings. Every living being wants to live. No one wants to die. Everyone feels pain. When we understand this truth, we avoid causing unnecessary pain to anyone. It creates a deep sensitivity within us. For Dr. Ambedkar, compassion was not just a personal feeling, but also a social and political principle. He believed that the laws of any country, the policies of any government, should be based on compassion. That is, laws should understand the pain of the weakest and most marginalized in society and work to alleviate it. Development does not mean simply building huge buildings, but wiping the tears of every citizen. This is the politics of true compassion. Compassion also teaches us to forgive the mistakes of others. It makes us understand that the person who is doing wrong may be doing so out of ignorance or suffering. That is why, instead of hating that person, we should try to remove the ignorance within that person. Buddha famously said, "Hatred can only be overcome not by hatred, but by love." This is the highest level of compassion. It is very difficult, but it is the only way to bring lasting peace to society. So we now have two powerful tools: the lamp of wisdom, which shows us the right path, and the power of compassion, which teaches us to walk that path with love and compassion. But when these two powers combine, they give birth to a third and revolutionary principle, one that lays the foundation for an ideal society. What is that principle? What is the solid rock on which we can build a new and just India? We will find the answer to this question in the next chapter. Chapter 6, The Pledge of Equality, the Foundation of a Just Society. When in the light of wisdom, we understand that all human beings are equal, and with compassion, we begin to understand the pain of every human being as our own. The confluence of these two gives birth to a great principle called Samata, or equality, for Dr. Equality was not just a word for Ambedkar, it was his life's mission. It was the destination he dedicated his entire life to achieving. Equality means that no person in a society will be discriminated against based on their birth, caste, gender, religion, or color. Every person will have equal opportunities for progress. Everyone will be equal before the law, and everyone will have the right to live with dignity. This is the dream of a society that Dr. Ambedkar called for an enlightened India. After extensive research, he discovered that inequality of some kind exists in most societies around the world. But the inequality prevalent in Indian society, in the form of the caste system, was the most severe and inhuman in the world. This was not just an inequality of opportunity, it was an inequality of human status. It implied that some people were unworthy of even being touched. This idea crushed the self-respect of millions. That is why Dr. Ambedkar said that India would never achieve true freedom until we eradicate this social slavery. He made the slogans of liberty, equality, and fraternity the soul of the Indian Constitution. He argued that these three are interconnected. Equality without liberty is meaningless. Without equality, freedom would become the exclusive privilege of a few. And the foundation of both is fraternity, which can only be born from compassion and love. Committing to equality is no easy task. To achieve this, we must first eradicate the inequality within our own minds. We all harbor prejudices, knowingly or unknowingly. We judge people by their clothes, their language, or their way of living. The path of equality teaches us to look beyond these external things and see the humanity within each individual. We must understand that every person is unique, but their uniqueness does not make them superior or inferior to others. Just as a garden has different kinds of flowers, and together they make the garden beautiful, similarly, society has different kinds of people, and together they enrich society. We must learn to respect this diversity. Do you agree with this idea? Let us know in the comments how you think we can further develop equality in our society. Dr. Ambedkar knew that changing minds alone would not suffice. Society's rules and laws must also be changed to promote equality. That is why, while drafting the Indian Constitution, he took special care to ensure that every citizen has equal rights. Untouchability was made a criminal offense. Everyone was granted the right to vote. Reservations were introduced for backward classes in government jobs and education, so that those who had been left behind for thousands of years could have a chance to move forward. All these were concrete steps to translate the resolve for equality into reality. They were proof that even the most monumental social change can be achieved with strong determination. We now have a map ready for the path to liberation. Wisdom is the key, compassion is the inspiration to follow, and equality is our goal. But having a map alone does not lead to the destination. We must also break the chains that prevent us from moving forward. What are those chains and how can they be broken? This will be revealed in our next very important chapter. Chapter 7, Breaking the Chains, Freedom from Mental Slavery, Understanding the Principles of the Path to Liberation, Wisdom, Compassion, and Equality is a crucial step, but knowledge remains incomplete until it is transformed into action. Dr. Ambedkar was a karma yogi. He didn't just talk about principles, but also struggled to implement them in our lives and society. He taught us that the path to liberation isn't just about thinking or feeling, but about actively breaking our chains. And the strongest chain is the one bound in our minds, called mental slavery. This is when a slave accepts their bondage as their fate and stops thinking about freedom. Dr. Ambedkar said that first of all, we must break this chain of mental slavery. The first weapon to break this chain is self-respect. For thousands of years, Dalits and people from backward communities had been instilled with the notion that they were untouchables, that they were worthless, and that they were born to serve others. This toxic thinking had completely destroyed their self-confidence. Dr. Ambedkar told them, "You are also human. Your blood is red. You are no less than anyone else. You were born to be the rulers of this country, not to remain slaves." These words were like a mantra. They awakened sleeping lions. They taught people to live with their heads held high. Don't bow down to anyone. Don't tolerate injustice. When self-respect is awakened within a person, no power in the world can enslave them forever. They learn to fight for their rights. The second and most powerful weapon to end mental slavery is education. Dr. Ambedkar himself witnessed in his own life the power of education. It was education that transformed him from a child from a humble family into one of the world's greatest scholars. He knew that knowledge is the light that illuminates every dark corner of the mind. An educated person cannot be deceived in the name of religion or tradition. They know their history, understand their rights, and have the ability to shape their own future. That is why he told his people, even if it means going hungry or wearing less clothes, they must educate their children. Education is like the milk of a lioness. Whoever drinks it will roar. His message is just as relevant today. Education is the key that can open all doors to progress and respect for us. But simply being educated and cultivating self-respect is not enough. If you fight alone, you will be easily crushed. That is why the third step to breaking these chains is organization. Dr. Ambedkar gave the slogan, "Stay United." He urged people to forget their small castes and differences and come together. Only when you unite and raise your voice will your voice be heard. There is power in organization. Anyone can remove a single piece of wood, but it is much more difficult to remove a bundle of wood. He formed many social and political organizations so that people could unite and fight for their rights. This was the path of struggle. He said that we must fight for our rights. No one will serve them on a platter. This struggle was not to be carried out with weapons, but through peaceful and constitutional means, presenting our case with logic and evidence. So now we have a complete action plan to break these chains: self-respect, education, organization, and struggle. But this journey is very long and difficult. Walking this path can tire a person and make them feel alone. What will support them in such a situation? What strength will help him move forward courageously even on this difficult path? We will find the answer to this question in the next chapter. Chapter 8, Building a Sangha, the courage to walk together. When a person walks the difficult path to liberation, he may face loneliness and despair. Opposition from society, the pull of old habits, and the distance to the destination can all together sap a person's courage. Dr. Ambedkar understood this human weakness well. That is why he placed great emphasis on another important principle of Buddha, the formation of a Sangha. Sangha means a community, a group where people with similar thoughts and working towards a common goal come together, support each other, and move forward together. Sangha gives a person the moral and emotional strength they need in this long struggle. Imagine yourself climbing a dark and difficult mountain path alone. You are feeling scared and tired. Then you meet some other people who are also climbing the same mountain. They extend a helping hand, sharing their light with you and letting you know that the destination is not far away. Your courage will instantly increase. You will move forward with renewed energy. The Sangha does exactly this. It reminds us that we are not alone in this struggle. There are many others like us who dream of a better world and are working hard towards it. When we are with such people, our own courage doubles. In the Sangha, we share our ideas, learn from each other's mistakes, and when a fellow member is weak, the others come together to support him. For Dr. Ambedkar, the Sangha did not simply mean a group of monks as traditionally understood. For him, the Sangha meant a community of all who follow the path of wisdom, compassion, and equality, whether householder or renunciate. He wanted to create a society that would function as a sangha itself, where people not only have relationships with each other for personal gain, but also contribute to each other's spiritual and moral development. Meeting regularly in such a community, discussing positive ideas, and working together for the betterment of society are all important components of the association. It helps us overcome negativity and loneliness. It protects us and always reminds us of our goals. Let us know in the comments if there's an organization or group of friends in your life that inspires you to become a better person. Another very important benefit of an organization is that it teaches us discipline. When we're part of a group, we follow certain rules that are for the common good. This teaches us to rise above personal interests and think about the collective interest. Dr. Ambedkar established certain rules for his followers, such as abstaining from intoxicants, lying, and violence. These rules strengthen individuals morally and lay the foundation for a good society. The organization also teaches us how to solve our problems peacefully and democratically. Here, everyone has the right to express their views and decisions are made with everyone's consent. This in itself is a valuable training ground for becoming a good citizen. So now we have a path, the tools to walk it, and companions to walk with us. But the question arises, where will this path lead us? What is its final destination? Is that destination in another world or right here on Earth? The answer will surprise you, and it will be found in our next chapter. Chapter 9, In This Life Liberation, Building Heaven on Earth. Most religions and philosophies dream of heaven, paradise, or salvation after death. They tell us that if we do good deeds in this life, we will find happiness in the next life or after death. But Dr. Ambedkar's path is completely different and revolutionary in this regard. Inspired by Buddha's Dhamma, he completely rejected this idea. He said that we need not worry about a heaven about which no one knows anything. We should focus on making this earth itself a heaven. Liberation, or nirvana, is not something we will attain after death, but rather a state we can achieve right here and now, in this life. So what does liberation mean in this life? It means freedom from suffering. And what is suffering? Greed, hatred, and ignorance. When a person, through hard work and correct understanding, frees his mind from these three vices, he attains liberation in this very life. He experiences a peace and happiness that is independent of external circumstances. Whether rich or poor, healthy or sick, he remains calm and composed in every situation. This is personal liberation. But Dr. Ambedkar did not stop there. He knew that humans live in society, and if society is unhappy and unjust, no one can be completely happy. That is why, along with personal liberation, he also emphasized social liberation. Social liberation means creating a society free from exploitation, injustice, and inequality. A society where every person has full opportunity to develop according to their potential. A society where love and brotherhood replace fear and hatred among people. Dr. Ambedkar believed that creating such a society is the true religion. This is creating heaven on earth. When we create a society where no one will go to sleep hungry, we will be liberated. If no one is disrespected and everyone receives justice, we won't need any imaginary paradise. Our very lives will become a celebration. This is a very practical and powerful idea. It inspires us to embrace our responsibilities instead of running away from them and make the world a better place. So how will this paradise be created? It will be based on the same principles we discussed in previous chapters. When most people in society follow the path of wisdom, compassion, and equality, such a society will begin to form naturally. When every person uses their intellect, no one will be able to deceive them. When every person has compassion for others, no one will exploit anyone. When everyone believes in the principle of equality, inequality and discrimination will disappear from society. The Constitution of India, drafted by Dr. Ambedkar, is a blueprint for creating paradise on earth. It is a map. It tells us what the rules of a just and egalitarian society should be. Now it is the duty of us citizens to follow that map and turn that dream into reality. This path leads us to a destination that lies not in some distant sky, but within our own hearts and our own communities. This is the path to liberation, not an escape from life. Rather, it teaches us to embrace life. So now we have come to the end of this journey. We have understood the entire path. But what is that one final thing? What is that one torch that Dr. Ambedkar left in our hands so that we never lose our way? Our final chapter will unveil this mystery. Chapter 10. The torch that will never be extinguished. Your path, your liberation. Today we have taken a long journey on the path of liberation shown by Dr. Ambedkar. We began by recognizing the suffering deeply rooted in society. Then we saw how Dr. Ambedkar boldly questioned the old paths and tested everything through the touchstone of logic and justice. His search led him to the scientific and humane path of Buddha, where he found the foundation of an ideal society in the form of wisdom, compassion, and equality. We learned that liberation begins with lighting the lamp of wisdom within our own minds, which dispels the darkness of ignorance and superstition. Then we understood the power of compassion, which connects us with the pain of others and makes us truly human. The confluence of these two gives rise to the resolve for equality, which is the foundation of a just society. We also learn that to implement these principles in life, we must break our mental and social shackles through self-respect, education, organization, and struggle. The saying, "a good community," supports us on this difficult path, and ultimately, we understand that our destination is not some imaginary paradise, but the creation of a happy and just society, right here on earth, in this life. This entire path is like a torch that Dr. Ambedkar has lit for us. But at the end of this journey, he gives us a very important message. That message is Ayap Deepo Bhava, be your own lamp. This means that he has shown us the way, given us the map. But we must walk that path ourselves. No one else will come and liberate us. Our liberation lies in our own hands. We must let our own intellect be our guide. We don't have to worship any individual, but rather embrace his ideas. Dr. Ambedkar himself didn't want people to deify him. He wanted people to understand and carry forward his ideas. The true tribute is to follow his path and build the India he dreamed of. This torch he lit will never be extinguished, for it is the torch of reason, compassion, and justice. As long as injustice and inequality persist in the world, this torch will continue to guide us. It will remind us that every human being is equal and has the right to live with dignity. It teaches us that our fight is not against any individual or community, but against wrong thinking and an unjust system. And this fight can be won not through hatred, but through knowledge and love. This path is not just for any one caste or community, it is for all humanity. Anyone who wants to live a rational, moral, and happy life can follow this path. So, my friends, this path to liberation is now before you. It doesn't promise you miracles. It demands hard work, courage, and determination. It entrusts you with the responsibility of improving your life and your society. Are you ready to take on this responsibility? Are you ready to light the lamp of wisdom within you, to unleash an ocean of compassion, and to raise the flag of equality? The decision is yours. Dr. Ambedkar has done his part. Now it's our turn. After listening to this audiobook, I hope you will have been filled with new thinking and a new energy. This knowledge is not just for listening, but for realizing it. Let us all pledge to contribute to building a society where no one feels humiliated because of their caste or religion, where every child receives a good education and every person reaps the rewards of their hard work. This will be our true tribute to Dr. Ambedkar. Friends, with this, our audiobook concludes today. We hope this torch of Dr. Ambedkar's thoughts has illuminated your mind. We have, on this journey, we learned that true liberation lies not in external rituals, but in transforming our thinking, awakening compassion in our hearts, and bringing equality to society. We learned that wisdom, compassion, and equality are the three pillars on which a happy life and a just society can be built. Thank you very much for taking the time to listen to this audiobook in its entirety. If you enjoyed our efforts, please like this video. Share it with your friends and family so that this light of knowledge can reach more people. And most importantly, what do you think about this topic? Please let us know in the comments. Write Op Deepo Bhava, you are a Deepo Bhava, so that we know that you too resolve to become the lamp of your own liberation. If you want to listen to such informative and inspiring audiobooks in the future, be sure to subscribe to our channel, PK Ghee and Power. We will continue to bring you such excellent audiobooks. See you in the next audiobook. Until then, Keep learning, keep moving forward, and be your own lamp. Thank you.